Hey you guys, it's Tiffany from the Tiff and Brian Show, and you are about to tune into a video blog of our bios. And I just wanted to let you know that it is a little bit longer than you're used to. It's about 30 something minutes, and I tried to add some video clips and some pictures in there to break it up a bit. But if you're anything like me, maybe you can treat this as a podcast and get your headphones on, go for a walk or a run, or get your jam box out and maybe do the dishes while you're listening to it. Try to make it a little bit fun. It's more conversational. And as always, any comments, questions, or extra topics you want us to cover, you can comment below. Thank you. Enjoy. Hey, what's up, everybody?
How you guys doing?
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Brian.
And this is the Tiff and Brian Show. We are kind of just working on our bios right now, giving you a little bit of a background of who we are, where we come from. So when we talk to you, you can understand I guess our perspective and what our backgrounds are and where we're coming from. So
exactly.
You want to go first?
Deep into the realm of who we are and why we're doing this and why you guys should trust us.
Exactly.
Because if you don't trust us and if you don't know who we are, you're like, who are these people? They're just like doing this, but it's gonna be good. You guys are gonna like it.
We're sitting here in Brian's awesome apartment on 3rd Street in Long Beach.
Bluff Heights.
Bluff Heights. If you're rolling by, stop by.
Stop by. It's right next to the Arabic church. It's really peaceful, actually.
It is really peaceful. Really quiet.
You're like, it's really quiet. Like a lot of singing. Okay. So, to our bios. It's peaceful though. Singing quiet. To our bios. So, you want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, guys, my name is Brian Christian Montano. I am the owner of Be More Fit. It is a lifestyle company that incorporates personal training, health, mental well-being, and in a way, kind of therapy, because a lot of the clients that I talk to, everybody likes to kind of share their lives. So I've kind of taken it as, incorporating health and lifestyle and just, overall good advice to people. So, but we also know a good deal about training. And in terms of my training background, I graduated from Cal State Long Beach. I've always been involved in sports since I was a little kid, from basketball, baseball, football, soccer, track, cross country. And it was actually in my high school days that I picked up weight training. I was in a really bad car accident. I broke my ankle. I wasn't able to skateboard anymore. Skateboarding was my dream. I wanted to be a professional skateboarder. I wanted to be like the next Paul Rodriguez or Ryan Sheckler, but that didn't really happen. So it's okay. That actually led to something even greater in my life, which was fitness. I became absolutely obsessed with weight training. Eventually, my friends and family, they were like, "Hey, you're getting good at this. Like, come help me." Like, they were starting to see results in myself, and I became really strict with my nutrition, really knowledgeable on training, and food affected my own body and other people's bodies, and just food in general, how it can affect you. And so I became obsessed with training family, training friends, and eventually I was like, hey, I really enjoy this. I think I'm gonna take this up as a career. And so I first started training people at Spectrum, and then I went to Equinox, and then I went to Golds, and then I went to Cal State Long Beach Recreation Center, where I trained a lot of the athletes and the students and the faculty. And then from there, I was like, you know what? I think I can be more creative with starting my own business and have like the freedom to do whatever I want with it. So I created Be More Fit. Basically what Be More Fit is fit obviously stands for fitness, but it's really, the meaning behind it is how can you be more of something that you want to be, whether it's be more healthy, be more athletic, be more aesthetic, and how can you fit that into your life and your lifestyle. And I'm 27 years old, by the way. I've been training since I was about 20 years old, so for quite a while. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, actually, Brian and I know each other through my brother.
That's very true.
Brian and my brother David trained at Spectrum together. And how did you guys meet?
So we were actually, I saw David and I was like, oh God, this guy kind of looks like me. I was like, you know what? There's nobody else here that's really my age. I'm gonna have this guy spot me. And eventually we started working out together. We would spot each other, and then we were like, oh, let's hang out. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And eventually we built like this really good friendship. And he's still my training partner today. Like basically, it's so funny. Like everywhere, every gym that we go to, we end up training together. And it's cool now because me and Tiffany train. Like we go to the same CrossFit gym over in downtown Long Beach, Intersect Athletics, and it's really cool. So.
And I think David used to tell me that you guys would. I mean, it's good to find a training partner because it's somebody who will hold you accountable, somebody who will push you, and it's also, especially I think for guys, it's a little bit competitive.
Oh, totally.
It's like, oh no, you go first because I want to see how many reps you do.
Exactly. And David was always better at pressing than me, so I'd always have him go first. So it was like on the bench press, it's like if he did 225 for 5, like I would try to get for 6, but he was always stronger, so I'd always get 4. But so it actually, when you have a training partner, try to find somebody that's in a way somewhat better than you, or just like at your level, so you guys can compete with each other and constantly be pushing yourself to get better. So. And
I want you to talk a little bit about your this different stages of your body, because I've known you since
so many transformations.
Since you've known my brother.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point you were so strict, like you would come over for dinner and you would bring your own chicken.
I would.
You would bring your own chicken breast to cook.
I felt like so rude. So rude at people's houses. It was horrible. Whatever
we were cooking was like not good enough for Brian's diet.
Yeah, and that's what everybody thought. It wasn't like it wasn't like as good enough for it. It's just like I was so strict and so paranoid about what I was eating that it wasn't gonna make me lean and ripped, that I would literally bring my food to restaurants, to people's houses. Like I literally probably couldn't have a girlfriend just because of how strict I was. And if I did have a girlfriend, it was like very miserable for them because of this. But I've
been through those stages too, though.
Yeah, it's hard. Do you ever go like that? I mean, when you and Brian go out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
There was something on. We were watching the Birds of Bees documentary.
I saw that. Oh my gosh, he has nothing to do with the company. It's just his face, pretty much.
Yeah, that's crazy. But he was in Japan, and he was like, "Oh no, I can't eat that," and I don't think I'm gonna like that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, Brian, is that how I sound when I go out to eat?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're exactly like that."
Yeah. Oh my gosh, like I'm constantly checking the calories. I mean, I'm less strict now because I kind of figured out what I can eat and what I can't eat and how it's going to affect me. But yeah, exactly. I used to be all about the calories and how much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. It was miserable, but now I'm happy. But transformations, oh my gosh, I've been through everything. I've been like, so right now I weigh like 165 pounds, but I've been at a point where I did cross country where I was 130 pounds. From there, I got up to 165. I changed my diet. I trained my ass off every single day, 7 days a week. But I was constantly eating, I was eating basically whatever. I mean, there was nothing I restricted from my diet when I was gaining weight. And eventually it went like completely overboard. I was actually 215 pounds and I thought I looked sexy and good. But I didn't fit into any of my clothes. I started to wear my dad's clothes and it got really bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm super strong, I'm big, but I had a lot of body fat on me. And that was just because of the way that I was eating. I was eating every 2 hours, basically whole foods. A lot of meat and potatoes and in and out. So that's not the way. It was called like basically dirty bulking, and that was not the way to go. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is disgusting. I need to completely change things. So that's actually when I started to get really strict with my diet. I did a lot of research and reading, but I thought that the best way to go about your research and experimenting is by actually doing it and seeing what works for your body. Because if I give you a strict diet, and if I tell you like eat this, and this, like it's gonna be good, but it may not be the exact food components that are going to help you reach, not just from a health standpoint, but just like your aesthetic goals, like the way that your body looks. So I got super lean and ripped. I got down to 165, super cut, and then I was like, I want to bulk again. So then I got to 185. I was able to kind of handle and manage what I ate. And I had more muscle and was still lean, but eventually, like I'm basically like I'm always constantly working with my body.
There's always somewhere to go.
There's always there's always somewhere to go.
Some end goal.
Exactly. So people are like, oh my gosh, if you're like, I want to get to 165 and you get there, sometimes like you can maintain that or you can stay there, but there's always if you love training and if you love working out and are constantly experimenting with different things, like you're like, I want to get to here now, then I want to get back to here. It's like a journey that's never going to end, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what about yourself? I mean, tell me about like, I mean, right now, what state would you say you're in terms of like your diet, like your goals?
Diet and goals. So, goals for sure are leaning out. I want to get my body into like marathon shape.
Mm-hmm.
And diet-wise, I'm still trying to figure out what works for my body.
Mm-hmm.
What works for my body doesn't necessarily work for my fitness goals.
Mm-hmm.
So making sure those overlap and trying to figure out
it's
both
difficult.
of those. Exactly.
It's really hard to figure out what works for you. You know? It takes time.
Because if I had to choose like something that worked for my body, I would just probably eat vegetables.
Yeah.
Because one, I don't designate a lot of time for eating. Because I eat mostly just for fuel.
Okay.
If I wasn't training, I probably wouldn't need protein.
Mm-hmm.
Or like animal protein.
Yeah.
And I could be fine just like on a vegetarian diet.
Okay.
But training, like you put training in there, you're running
with
like
weights
10 miles.
Or running,
running
you know?
10 miles or weight training, which I'm doing both of. Like I ran over 13 miles last week.
Wow, that's a lot.
And I also did 3 days of CrossFit training, which usually I try to do 5.
Mm-hmm.
But last week was particularly insane and busy, so
Yeah.
I didn't get my 5 in. But
and that's going to be another topic we're going to talk about. How can you fit training and eating into like a ridiculously busy lifestyle with kids, work, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever.
Exactly. So that kind of like training and a vegetarian or plant-based diet does not work for me.
It's
all.
difficult. I mean, you can only get so many calories from broccoli and certain vegetables, and you can add healthy fats, but still, it's like not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough.
No.
So finding that balance is still something that I'm working with and working on. And as far as my background, I've been, and if there's anything else you'd like to say too about yourself, just like chime in. I started gymnastics when I was 3 and lived a very, very active lifestyle since I was really young. I was always in the pool, always outside playing.
I feel like a lot of, I'm sorry, I interrupt you. I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of kids back in the day were like so active, and nowadays they're just like not. They're like TV, like not even reading, they're just like glued to their like iPhones and shit. But I'm sorry.
Yeah,
But
no, it's true.
That's awesome.
It's
Like
true.
they're so active.
Always, if I wasn't in the gym, I was outside. Bike riding, roller skating, in the pool, like during the summer, from sun up to sun, like even past sundown. I remember being just in the pool, like watching a meteor shower, like probably really late.
That's awesome. I never did that, but I wish I did.
So always super active. I think gymnastics is one of those sports, if you're thinking about getting into it or thinking about getting your kids into it, like it helps. It's like been a waterfall effect. It's helped me. I can't even explain how well throughout my entire life. I still see it today, helping me.
In like in terms of like what you learned from it, or just like basic, like from the training, or just like combination of everything, like your diet? Because I know you have to be really strict with your diet for gymnastics.
I think all encompassing.
Okay.
Mentally, toughness, workout training.
Yeah.
Flexibility, mobility, strength.
Definitely. I see it in CrossFit. She can handstand like no other. It's ridiculous.
Definitely with like certain muscle strength.
Uh-huh.
But just a couple other examples. After actually overlapping gymnastics, I went into Pop Warner cheerleading, and then I had this like desire to do dance. I don't know why, but I had only about a year or a year and a half of formal dance training, and I made a competitive like dance team that.
You made it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean, I tried out and I made.
Oh, you made it. Okay, I thought you
yeah,
you created, like you gathered them together.
Oh, no, I just like made a dance team at school,
awesome.
Song. I did song at school, in high school with girls who had been basically training their entire lives to be on like competitive dance. And I think being in gymnastics helped a lot with that.
Yeah.
The only thing I had to learn how to do was like certain dance moves and then also how to flow better. Because as a gymnast, it's so rigid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, no, gymnasts can't dance.
It's just like, yeah, I know exactly. The choreography, make it flow, and then,
yeah. And then I also think dance has helped me throughout the years also. So two things that I think have been extremely beneficial. Yeah, exactly. And I also found that I opened up more after learning how to dance.
As in like?
I got like less shy.
That's good.
More, I guess just like more open.
Yeah, that's good.
Open in general. And then just within the past couple months, I got into yoga, which has been something that I had to put on hold because of the marathon training, but I'm going to get back to that in October. So around 16 or 17, I stopped all physical activity. I didn't think physical activity had anything beneficial for my future. So I started So I started concentrating on academics and volunteering and just kind of doing different stuff like internships.
Was that in college?
That was actually my senior year of high school and in college. Okay. So junior, senior year, I was like, I figured out how to study. I figured out how to, I guess, beat the school system. Because before that, I just didn't care. Yeah. It was more like social stuff and.
It's kind of like me. The whole thing.
So I kind of learned how to learn, or get by. I'm still learning how I learn.
Yeah. Me too.
But I also noticed that I had this like crazy pain that started up in my body, and I didn't really know how to get rid of it. A lot of it was in my lower back, and it got worse through the years. Like it kept getting worse. And I would try everything, go to the chiropractor, get massages. I tried acupuncture. I basically tried everything but returning to exercise and movement and stretching and back to, back to where I think my body should be, that gymnast state or whatever. Physical, right? So I guess, I've also been through many bodily stages. I've been like really super thin but not fit, like maybe I've been thin and fit, like 11% body fat, which is really difficult to get to for a girl.
Especially, I was gonna say, for a female, like it's a lot harder than males to lose body fat.
It was really hard. And then I've also been like super fat.
As we all have. Yeah. We all have our fat stages.
We all have our fat stages.
Our little cellulite stages.
And I guess it's finding that, like, in what stage are you that you feel most happy?
Oh my gosh,
that you feel most mentally there. And I found that when I'm exercising, I also have more mental clarity. I also feel better about myself. Even though, like, for example, right now, I may not be my thinnest or fittest, I think I'm the most mentally happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You learn a lot about yourself when you're training. Like so much. It's ridiculous. It's not just like physical, but how do you handle pain? How do you handle discomfort and like put yourself in situations that you feel in a way like hopeless, but you keep going.
Yeah. You know? It's a really quite an amazing journey. So around age 21, I started working out again. I remember like I got to this stage of like extreme fatness where I was like, no more. Yeah. What do I do?
It sucks because like you can like literally like it's a really big deal. Like your style completely changes because you have to fit to your body now.
Yeah. So I got so fed up, and I was like, all right,
No pun intended.
Seriously. I feel like I lost so much that was still inside of me during that fat stage, and I was like trying to muster it up, like, okay, what do? I know how to do this, like, how do I get back to where I want to be?
Yeah.
And I started with a 30-day like exercise book.
Yeah, that's perfect.
At a gym, and I did that for 60 days, and I think I lost like 10 or 15 pounds, and
That's
I still
awesome.
wasn't like at where I wanted to be. So I was, okay, what else do I do? And then I think I just discovered Tim Ferriss and the slow carb diet around that time.
Was that like paleo, or was that a paleo type of diet, or was it just mostly low carb?
It's so what that is it's basically 6 days a week you eat meat and vegetables. There are some tiny other things, like get 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up.
Oh, okay.
You can eat beans.
Okay.
So unlike paleo diet, legumes are okay. Beans and lentils. So I was basically on like the Chipotle diet.
That's awesome.
And that was kind of where I transitioned to next. And I watched a couple documentaries that I guess changed my view about food. One was Food Inc.
I think I watched that one.
And the other one, Food Inc. was like that.
I think, was that on Netflix?
Process, yeah.
Okay.
Like big food corporations, dairy, processed foods and meats, and McDonald's.
When you watch this stuff too, you're gonna realize like, oh my gosh, like it's absolutely disgusting and horrible, the process, and like how fake it is when they make these food. And they make it look so good on the label, whether it's gluten-free or fat-free or sugar-free. Like it's just, if it says something like that, that means it's fake. It's they did something to it that's not that good.
Yeah, and actually, so I watched a couple one was the Food Inc. and then the other one was Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Oh gosh,
have you seen that one?
I see that. Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
Those two documentaries, if you haven't seen them, like kind of changed my life and my view on food. And it wasn't until all these things started clicking, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like I'm 26. At 21, I was at a different stage. It was basically like, goal was to lose body fat. And I ended up finding, I did the slow carb diet like for a year or two. I ended up finding out that it wasn't the right diet for me. So I've tried pretty much a lot of things: vegan, vegetarian, only meat.
Only meat?
Only meat.
That's the diet I'm on, only meat.
Slow carb diet. I've tried a whole bunch of stuff, and you start learning what your body reacts to. Yeah,
it's all about what your body reacts to, not like, you have to try so many different things and incorporate everything into one. It's like, it's going to be like, now this is Tiffany's diet. It's not just like she's based off of one diet. She's like her own specific
Exactly, and I think everybody has their own specific diet that works for them, for their particular goal. Maybe they have to change it up, when they want to start putting on muscle or whatever.
And you have to do the diet for a while so that oh, this works, it doesn't work. Not just like 1 month, not 2 months, not 3 months. It's like you have to do it for a while, and you have to be patient. Otherwise, you're not going to know if it's helpful at all.
Yeah, no, exactly. Another point to add to that is the more extreme the diet, let's say you go vegan, the less time it takes to discover how your body reacts to food. But if you're basically just going to remove one thing, like gluten, it may take 3 to 6 months to figure out what your body is like without gluten.
Exactly.
So if you remove... So what I found, if you want to really see how your body reacts to food, is literally remove everything.
Yeah.
And add one thing very slowly. Like, I did this as an experiment, and a couple times a year I do like a juice cleanse, let's say like 7 days. So 7 days is like a good amount of time to get I guess, to do a cleanse. And then you add like vegetables, and then you add fruit, and then you can add, like let's say you just added dairy, and what if your body like didn't really react to that very well? Then you would know what your body is like at a fasting state, how your body reacts to dairy, how your body reacts to refined sugar.
Oh, definitely.
You know, like we put so many things in our bodies, and we're so used to how our bodies feel when all that stuff is running through it, that we kind of becomes our norm.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. You put all these things in, and you like don't really know what your body reacts to, and then all of a sudden you take something out, like Tiffany said, and you start all over from like the bottom and work your way up, and then you're like, oh my gosh, like this is crap. I need to eliminate this and eliminate that. I can add this, and this is cool. Like gluten's fine for me, whatever, you know?
Yeah. I've done a lot of experimenting with food and diet and exercise also. And then this whole entire time has been how to get my body back to a normal operating state. I've had a lot of bodily pains, I've had a lot of digestive issues, and a lot of what I've done in the past was to fix and help alleviate those. And so I guess a background that I come from is dealing with things like that. And those things are like chronic fatigue, pain, like muscle pain, and digestive issues, and like none of that's really fun. So I found diet and exercise, depending on what that diet and exercise is, helps a lot.
And that's the beauty of what we're doing, is we're bringing our experiences, like as everybody's different, you know. Some of us more pain tolerant than others and stuff like that, and you know, but we're bringing our experiences and trying to help you, because we know that a lot of people out there are the same exact way. They're like, holy crap, I can't handle pain, like what do I do, you know? So, and we've experienced a lot. We're so experiencing so much that
there's so much more
to experience, and we're gonna try to help you guys in a way figure out or where to even start when it comes to certain topics.
Exactly. And then I guess just to, I've never been a runner, so now I'm learning how to run. I'm running my first marathon in October, so a lot of where I'm coming from now is, I guess, more of like, so I still have that diet, the digestive and pain issues, which I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia about a year ago. I was just curious about like what could be causing this.
What is that? What is that, by the way?
It's basically just like chronic pain in your muscles.
Okay.
And there are other symptoms to it, like the chronic fatigue, there's depression, both of which I've dealt with. And so all those like mental and physical, I think mental and physical go hand in hand. And
it does. It really does. If you're depressed, like you don't want to do anything. Like it's very hard to get that motivation to get up in the morning and live.
Dude, yeah. It is. So been through a lot with that and trying to figure out what exactly helps and what doesn't. I personally think a lot of it is linked to lack of movement, lack of digestive health, and those are things that I've been concentrating on within the past year since I've been diagnosed, and I have a lot to say about that. I won't go into it now, but yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be another episode, and I'm gonna be here, and I'm gonna be asking Tiffany the questions. She's gonna be explaining this to all of you guys
Awesome.
In more depth.
And then running basically is like, how do you take care of your body? How do you get the muscles you need? How do you target the major muscles used to run long distance?
Exactly. And how, in a way, like I know, like you said, you wanted to get like in marathon shape. I mean, when I think of a marathon runner, I think of just like extremely skinny, like not really anorexic, but it's like borderline. Just because, I mean, when you're running marathons, like, I mean, you don't want to have too much muscle. You want to be like as light as a feather.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you see all these great marathon runners, and you're just like, oh my gosh, how are you alive? You're so thin. But I mean, because you're incorporating CrossFit and weight training, 5 days a week. I mean, is that going to be difficult to like, because I know you're also trying to gain strength.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be difficult to still do CrossFit with your marathon running, do you think?
I don't think so,
Okay,
because I've actually found that CrossFit's helped me a crazy amount with running. It's developing all the muscles that you need to run, which are basically your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, calves, lower back, abs. Like
your core.
Exactly. So I found that CrossFit's helped a lot. I just did a 10-mile run on Friday, just for training, and it was so much easier than it was for me to run 10 miles this time last year.
That's awesome.
And I just started CrossFit a month or two ago, so it's awesome. Helped an incredible amount. I don't feel heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't feel bulky or heavy.
Yeah.
It's helped a lot. So,
that's awesome. And you don't need CrossFit to get in. CrossFit's great because it incorporates so many major movements. But I mean, you could still do bodybuilding. You could still do other types of training. Like, don't think like, oh my gosh, I gotta go join a CrossFit gym now. It's like, no, you can do this stuff on your own. But I'm just saying, because we both joined CrossFit kind of at the same time. We're asking just basically how that has helped,
Yeah, no, it's helped a lot. I can only see it helping more to improve my running. I guess that's my background and where I'm coming from and how I think I can help you guys work through some things on the mental, physical, pain, mobility,
spiritual.
Exactly, spiritual.
Really, you gotta dig deep into yourself and ask yourself, is it really worth it? And you're gonna find out that it is. And you're gonna like it. So.
Yeah.
And me, one more thing, I'm a small guy. Like, I've lifted some pretty heavy weights in my lifetime, and people are like, how the hell did you do that? So my background a lot in terms of my training, like I do a lot of strength training, even though I'm a small guy. It's okay to be small and still strong. I've done strongman, where I train with a bunch of professional strongmen over in Costa Mesa at East Coast, West Coast strength for a couple years, and I learned a ton of stuff. I was obviously a lot bigger and fatter, but I definitely learned a lot of stuff in terms of like gaining strength and strengthening my muscles, my tendons, my ligaments, my joints, my bones. And I would say, so strength, my background. I've done a lot of conditioning and track. Being that I'm a smaller guy, I can still run, and I can still do all of this stuff. So I thought that's the reason why, in a way, I joined CrossFit, because it incorporated strength, conditioning, all the stuff that I felt like I was good at, and I did that. So my background, strength and conditioning, per se, so.
Cool. Well, anything else to add?
I had something and I completely just blanked out right now.
It happens.
Completely blanked out. I was gonna say something. What was I gonna say? Always be consistent with your training. Always be consistent with your diet. It's okay to cheat 10% of the time. If you don't want to cheat meal on Saturdays, go for it. Don't be afraid. If you want to take a day off because you really feel like you need it and your body is like completely destroyed, take a day off. Just always be consistent, train hard, and be more fit. That's what I gotta say.
I've got nothing to add other than let us know if you have any topics you want us to cover or questions. I think experimenting with your body is the most important thing.
It's the best way. It's the only way to learn. You can read everything in the book, but if you don't do it or put it into play, you are not going to figure it out.
Exactly. Let us know. Leave comments below if you have any topics or suggestions, and hope to see you guys again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching.
See you later.